and good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I am your host, Josh Engel. Today is, let me check the date, Tuesday, February 18th. I'm very, very pleased to be here with you this morning. Our guests today is the very, very cool, I've had a chance to talk to them, they're so fun, the team from Muvhimi Buffalo Safaris. We have Andrew Gardner, Christian Harmse, and Sonja Harmse. Did I do it right?
Yeah, you got it.
Perfect. We are live streaming this morning's awesome and interesting show on our WLBB News Talk 1330 Facebook page. So if you'd like to tune in and check out our guests, if you have any questions, comments, kudos, anything, feel free to throw those in the chat, and I'd be happy to read those out to our guests. Why don't we start first with some quick origin stories, a little bit of a bio to tell us a bit about yourself. And if we could, let's start with Andrew Gardner.
My name is Andrew Gardner. I met Chris just over a year ago. Became a professional hunter through a course with him. He was my instructor. We started talking about what we could potentially do together to grow Muvhimi. And once I started hearing about everything he supports, and as far as the non-hunting and non-profit organizations go, we joined teams, and now I professionally hunt for them and see where we can go from here.
Excellent. And a quick reminder at home, something so interesting about this organization in particular is the unique way that they approach safaris. I think folks typically have, there's only one way. People think about some guy in one of those Jumanji hats sitting there with some beautiful endangered animal. And in reality, it's a lot more complex and beautiful than that. And I think that Muvhimi has a very interesting story to tell. So let's throw it over to one of the founders, Christian. Christian, tell us a bit about yourself, sir.
Yes, very good morning from our side. It's a privilege to be here live with WLBB, and thanks for having us. We would, I think, first like to start off on that side. Yeah, we started this business, Sonja and I, about 8 years ago, and just passion for wildlife. I think that's where it actually started. We have a passion for the outdoors, we've got a passion for wildlife, and we just started this business from a foundation of giving back. In Africa, it's all about conservation. We have a resource in Africa and in Southern Africa in particular in terms of our wildlife model of natural resources equal to nothing in the world, and that is our wildlife. And we have to do something to our wildlife, to preserve our wildlife and to conserve our wildlife. And on that basis, we've started, Sonja and I came up with the idea to let's pursue our own safari business and outfitting business. And because in Africa right now, there's no other real model for conservation than trophy hunting. And I think that it is a big education which we endeavor to do. There's a lot of education that needs to be done on that basis. So through trophy hunting, we are conserving our wildlife, and that is our main focus and objective. So we started this business to be the hunting outfitter of choice in Southern Africa, and also the safari operator in Southern Africa. But our objective is also is to hunt Africa. That's what we do. So we are safari operators in Africa. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much. And Sonja, tell us a bit about yourself. I'd love to know how you and Christian met.
Oh, that's a quite a long story. For another day maybe. But I'll just say online dating.
Nice.
I believe it or not, but yeah.
I feel like it was a lot more like
there's a lot more, but we'll have to do an entire radio talk show just to get behind
next year's
that.
Valentine's Day. Next year's
Valentine's Day. We'll do that then. But yeah, I mean we just both, like Chris said, we share a passion for wildlife. We share a passion for nature. We, apart from the hunting business, we're also both qualified advanced scuba divers. So it's just something we share, and that's why when we decided to do this, I'm the creative half of the whole operation. So my title says PR and operations, but I do all the videography. So I'm on all the hunts. I do the videography, and then also I write articles for the hunting magazines. There's a international publication called Africa Sportsman that I write. So every hunt that we go on, I write an entire article for our clients so that they can read, and it's there for them. So yes, and then I also do our social media, and then apart from that, we have 3 kids back at home. Hi, if they're listening, but they're not. They're in school. No, they should be actually done with school.
Late afternoon.
It's late afternoon.
Yeah, late afternoon.
So I told them to download the app. Maybe they can listen to us. Hi, Cara, Luca, and Ruben, if you're there.
Shout out.
Shout out. But yeah, that's our story.
This is great. So you're the brains, Christian is the beauty, and Andrew is the brawn.
Exactly.
Everything's covered.
That's how we work.
I would love that. Okay, so you mentioned before the program started that the name of the company, Muvhimi, Muvhimi, it actually has a very significant meaning. Whoever would like, please tell us about that word.
That actually word, and I'll just grab the mic here to talk. But Sonja actually came up with a word, and we thought, what should we really call our company, and to have a meaning. And we hunt Southern Africa, so Sonja came up with the name Muvhimi, and Muvhimi means it is Shona. Shona is the native language, or one of the native languages in Zimbabwe. And we are also safari operators in Zimbabwe. So we are hunting in Zimbabwe, and actually some of our workers are from Zimbabwe. So Sonja came up with the word Muvhimi, which means hunter in Shona, which is the native language in Zimbabwe. So it's actually got the meaning of hunter in the native language Shona from Zimbabwe. And that's where it actually originated from. And Sonja came in and we said, well, yeah, that's perfect. So let's
Very creative.
Let's call it Muvhimi.
I mean, you were right.
Again, she's the creative brain, yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so when you were telling us a bit about yourself, you mentioned conservation, and I think that this might be an important point to sort of look at for folks that are tuning in. Some folks might be having trouble coalescing. They hear hunter and they hear conservation. They don't realize that there is a very important balance there in terms of the local ecology. Could you speak a bit more on the conservation side of what you do?
The conservation, and as I mentioned in my earlier conversation, is trophy hunting is a very important factor in terms of conservation. And the reason for that is trophy hunting maintains the value on our wildlife. If we take the value away from our wildlife is worth nothing. And it's like anything in life. If something has got no value, it goes to extinct. And that's exactly what happens. So we are valuing our clients and we are valuing our trophy hunters to maintain the value on our wildlife. Because, for example, if a wildlife ranch in South Africa, if all of a sudden there's no more value on that wildlife, the property owner, will purely get rid of all the wildlife and return it back into livestock. Now, that's exactly what happened in Kenya. If I can take Kenya as an example, Kenya as a country stopped trophy hunting in 1977. Today, there's no wildlife left in Kenya besides in their national parks. Because what happened there is the Maasai, which is their tribal native people over there, they are livestock farmers. So all of a sudden, if a lion eats their animals or their livestock, or they poison the lions. If the elephants and the buffaloes come and eat the crops and eat the grazing grounds of their livestock, they kill the wildlife. Their neighboring country, Tanzania, who continued with trophy hunting, are flourishing with wildlife today. So that's just a very quick and good example of what trophy hunting means in terms of maintaining wildlife, increasing the numbers of wildlife. And if I can give an example on that is, and there's a lot of people who might think, aren't these animals which we're hunting, aren't they becoming extinct? Aren't the numbers decreasing and decreasing due to trophy hunting and due to killing them? No, not at all. We are today in South Africa, taking South Africa as an example. Before 1965, we had less than 350,000 head of wildlife. Today, due to wildlife management, we have in excess of 20 million numbers of wildlife
I think we all
in
could
South
use some
Africa.
positive news like that. That's beautiful.
So that is the statistics of what wildlife ranching through the value of wildlife means to wildlife in Southern Africa and in the bigger Africa. And that is the conservation part of it. And that is why we are so very passionate about this, to understand that trophy hunting, and let me dig deeper in terms of trophy hunting. Trophy hunting is in terms of taking the mature animals. That means that you're harvesting the male species that are finished with their breeding. They've completed their breeding. They are at an age where they're being kicked out the herd. All the males, they're being kicked out the herd. Those are the animals which we are after and which we are hunting and harvesting. Because what will happen with that animal is a year or 2 years, you're going to find that animal dead in the field. Now, why would a wildlife rancher want to pick up a dead buffalo if he could have hunted that buffalo and got revenue for the buffalo and pumped that revenue back into conservation?
Back into conservation.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that is how now you have such an amazing excess of wildlife.
Exactly. So that model is just is what we're pursuing. Yeah.
That's amazing.
If I can just also add to that, that's the one part of it. But what is also very important is there's a lot of rural communities in some of the areas we hunt. And what Chris was saying now, when we hunt these older animals, the meat can go back to the communities, because the trophy hunters don't utilize the meat. I mean, we'll cook up some of the steaks or whatever for them on a hunt, but the rest of the meat are actually going back to the local communities. And in a lot of the areas, that's the only source of most of the protein they will ever get their hands on. So you just think of families with children that's still growing. I mean, they need that. So it's very important. And in their minds then, they see that as a positive outcome. And instead of then having to poach animals, where obviously there's then no regard to age or sex or whatever, part of the animal, they will just go and poach because they need the food. Whereas now they see this as a very positive action from the hunter's side. They get the food, and in turn there's a lot of employment creation, because all the hunting lodges require staff to work there. So there's a lot of positive coming out of it, and we do a lot to educate the communities around the areas so that they understand this. It's like, wow, it's great when these people come over, because there's food, there's job creation, we don't have to go and poach the animals, so it's a win-win for all sides.
Excellent education for our listeners, and I think that it's important for folks to really understand at the get-go, before we even dive into the plethora of cool experiences that Muvhimi is able to provide to your clients, that there is a balance, and there is, I mean, the number speaks for themselves. I mean, approaching it with respect and a conscientious mind to not only serve the local communities, but to also serve the wildlife at large. Time is 8:44. We're going to go and take our first commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the team from Muvhimi Buffalo Safaris as we chat more about their world and about the services they offer to their clients. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
The customized academic scholar journey at Oak Mountain Academy is individually designed to provide students with a personalized, clearly defined academic track that earns the student a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically driven students to pursue a focused, rigorous course of study personalized to their wants and desires. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Consider the Mobius strip. Take a strip of paper, twist it, connect the ends. This connection forms a continuous loop. Seamless, infinite. That's how your healthcare should be too. At Tanner Health, the Mobius is our symbol and our promise, representing our continuum of care and our commitment that the services you need will be here for you always. We're not just changing healthcare, we're redefining it. See more at tanner.org.
And we're back to Community Voice. Just a quick reminder, this morning's episode with the Muvhimi Buffalo Safaris team is currently being live streamed on our WLBB News Talk 1330 Facebook page. So a quick reminder, if you have any questions or comments for our guests, please feel free to throw those into the chat. If you're just tuning in, be sure to check out the full episode, either the live stream or the podcast, which will be uploaded to the station's website as well as gradacommunications.com, because it is so fascinating to learn of the reality of trophy hunting and its balance with conservation, and the positive impact that it not only has brought to these wild animals, but also to the communities scattered throughout Africa, which ends up being the recipient of some blessings of meat and job opportunities and a lot more. Let's throw it over to Andrew Gardner. Andrew, before we took our first break, there was a mention of the meat that is collected from the animals on these safaris are actually gifted to the local community, and this might be some of the only protein that they are able to find for quite some time. Could you speak a bit about the meat that you've collected and given to the local African communities?
Yeah, just last year, between me and my clients, we donated over 9,000 pounds of meat to the Helping Hands organization, which they, in return, they come collect it from wherever you're at. They'll process the meat, portion it into plate-sized portions, and disperse it throughout the homeless communities and people in need. It's really rewarding personally, and feels good to give back, and to use every piece of that animal. None of it is wasted.
See, and I think that's another important distinction. There are misconceptions. I know I'm sure there are some companies that don't operate with such integrity and forethought, but
sure.
But a lot of folks, there's this misconception that when someone thinks of a trophy hunter, they think of some spoiled kid hunting an animal and then they just leave it or something, like they just came for the picture. Right. And people see that and they're like, oh, but that's probably a young mother or a young father animal, and they don't realize that this is an animal that has at this point been kicked out of the herd because their breeding cycle is done. They've had plenty of time to procreate, and now their destiny is dying alone in a field, whereas now they could go out in a way which would not only serve the local community, but help provide employment for folks in these communities. So 9,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, did you say Helping? What is that there, the organization?
Helping Hand Foundation.
Yeah,
That's
Helping
cool.
Hands Foundation.
Wow, so that's an organization that you've partnered with for some time.
Correct.
Wow, that's super cool. Okay, I go ahead.
Yeah, so if I can just come in there, just from Andrew's point of view, the Helping Hand Foundation has been started by, if I can mention the guy's name, a guy called Bakkies Botha, and he was one of the South African Springbok rugby players, and they came together and they actually started this foundation. So from a hunter's point of view, wherever you are in South Africa, wherever you hunt, if you're part of them, you can give them a ring, they will come to you, they fetch the carcasses, and they then go further and they then process the meat to then distribute throughout orphanages, people in need, the homeless, all those, and they are doing a fantastic job throughout, and that's exactly what Andrew just mentioned.
Wow. So, while we're speaking with you, sir, Mr. Harmse, could you tell us a bit about the excursions and I keep thinking of the word adventure, like the adventures which people can go on, and through your company, the services offered.
All right, I think we will divide it into two. So I'll talk a bit about the hunting outfitting side of the business, and then I'm going to give it over to Sonja, which can talk about the non-hunting excursions, which is a big focus on our business as well. Now, the hunting part of it is we are focusing in Southern Africa. So we are based in South Africa. We are based in the Limpopo province, which is the most northern province of South Africa, which we call the hunting Mecca of South Africa. It borders Zimbabwe on the northern side and borders Botswana on the western side. So we have various concessions in Southern Africa, which we focus on. We primarily like to sit down with our clients. We like to understand what they are after in terms of trophies, the trophies which they would like to come and harvest. And some people come over, like first-time African hunters, and they just have an open list. they come over and they have an openness. So we either focus on specific tailor-made safaris for, and we focus on the needs of either it's a first-time African client who comes and visit Africa for the first time. He's never been there. He doesn't know what to expect. We cater for that person, because there's a lot of time that people from America or from the States, they think, well, should I come? Should I impress am I qualified enough to come over to Southern Africa? Am I going to disappoint my professional hunter over there? No, not at all. We are open, and we take families. We take the first-time hunters in Africa. We take the most seasoned hunters in Africa. So we offer the broad-spectrum hunter the opportunity to come over to Africa and sort of enjoy Africa from a hunting point of view. And we always say that our diversity is absolutely immense. Like I mentioned earlier, our natural resources is equal to nothing in the world. You might on any given day, whether you take your animal or not take your animal on a particular day, might have seen 12 to 15 species of animals. And I think that's what's so impressive from a US client point of view when they visit Africa for the first time, is the absolute immense diversity of wildlife which they can experience. And they say, and that's exactly what we focus on. So we focus on the first-time African hunter, we focus on the most seasoned African hunter. And whether you want to take plains game, we focus on plains game safaris. That means all your normal antelope. So for the people who don't understand, we don't have antlers in South Africa. Our bucks don't shed their horns. So we have all antelopes, so they keep their horns. So those are all your plains game species. And then we also focus on the dangerous game. The big five, people who don't know, the big five is the elephant, that's your lion, that's your rhino, that's your buffalo, and that's your leopard. Those are all your dangerous game, and we also throw the crocodile and the hippo in there. So people who want to come and have a bit of a adrenaline rush and coming to experience the hunts on those kind of animals, that's also what we offer throughout Southern Africa and also into Africa. So that's basically from a hunting point of view what we offer all our hunters. And I'm going to give it to Sonja for the non-hunting excursions.
So yes, before I speak a little bit more about that, I just want to say our slogan, and you'll see it everywhere, is we hunt with heart, harvest with pride, and leave a legacy. And the leaving a legacy side is very important to us from the conservation point of view, but then also with our non-hunting excursions. And our non-hunting excursions, and the reason why we do this as well is hunting has become a family affair. It's no longer just a bunch of guys going off and hunting and just shooting. That's not what it's about. And that is also why our part of the business involves things that the whole family can enjoy. And whether you are a hunter or a non-hunter, you can come with, enjoy the hunting safari, and then extend your trip into a non-hunting safari. Now, there we have anything, like I mentioned, we are both qualified scuba divers, so we can take people on scuba diving trips. We do beautiful tours, wine tasting tours, and exploring Cape Town, where we can go up and see things like Table Mountain, visit Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was prisoned. So it's more of your historical kind of safaris. Then we do photographic safaris to the national parks. We do fishing, so we have tiger fishing, we have deep sea fishing. Whew, what else? Victoria Falls. So if we go to Zimbabwe, we can do Victoria Falls. And then obviously both in Zimbabwe and Mozambique, there's excellent tiger fishing up there. So there's just an enormous amount of non-hunting excursions that we can do. And then thrown into that with the leave a legacy part is where we do, as part of the non-hunting excursions, we offer our clients visits to some of the non-profit organizations and projects we support, where, for instance, there's something that's called the SCI Blue Bags. That is where our clients will come in and they can either go shopping with us, where they can buy stationery, sanitary products, all sorts of items that schools require, and they can go to the local schools that's in need of us and actually go and deliver these things to the children. We support projects like the Rhino Orphanage and a variety of wildlife rehabilitation and protection, where they can go and visit these sites with us. There's research projects. So there's a lot of that's part of our non-hunting excursions. So whether you just want to go and explore the rest of the country and do all the magnificent things we have to offer, or get involved from a more philanthropy point of view and make that part of your non-hunting excursion, we also offer that.
I think I signaled to Colin through the window, but we're definitely going to take the show to 9:05 instead of 9, because this is endlessly fascinating, and I have more questions. Because just
no
then,
problem.
What an amazing list of conservation organizations and programs and nonprofits that are out here working very diligently to preserve and to serve the local communities there in Africa. So we'll go ahead and take our last commercial break. We're going to take the show to 9:05 and continue our conversation with Andrew Gardner, Christian Harmse, and Sonja Harmse as we discuss Muvhimi Buffalo Safaris and so much more. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
The World Language Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined, curriculum-based track to acquire essential knowledge and skills for success in biliteracy fields of study. The successful completion of this journey provides colleges with a method to recognize a rigorous foreign language immersion experience for all students at Oak Mountain Academy. I'm Patrick Duran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Consider the Mobius strip. Take a strip of paper, twist it, connect the ends. This connection forms a continuous loop. Seamless, infinite. That's how your healthcare should be too. At Tanner Health, the Mobius is our symbol and our promise, representing our continuum of care and our commitment that the services you need will be here for you always. We're not just changing healthcare, we're redefining it. See more at tanner.org.
And we're back to Community Voice. Not often during the commercial break I can have a conversation about how dangerous hippopotamuses are. I just learned what they're responsible for the most deaths
in Africa.
In Africa. Whoa! See, people would never think that.
And just to add on to that, why? And it's because people think always about the lions.
Yeah,
and
the big cats.
The predators like that might eat you alive. The hippos, why are they the cause of the most deaths in Africa? Is what a hippo does is hippos, they live in the water systems, and then they come out in the evenings and they go and graze outside the water systems. Now, the local people that live next to those water systems, the water systems are their life source in terms of water, where they wash their clothes. Those people in those areas don't have fresh water like what we do, open up a tap and there's water. So they need to go down to the river systems to go and wash their clothes, get water for their drinking water, all of that. And what they do is then they get in the way between the river and the hippo. So that is when and why the cause of the most deaths in Africa is these people that are living next to these rivers come between the hippo and the river, and they get eaten alive, because that hippo, when he opens his mouth, he cuts you in half.
You turn around and there's a minivan standing behind you with big fangs. If you're just tuning in, please go back and check out the full episode and the live stream on our Facebook, WLBB News Talk 1330 Facebook page, because we're chatting with the Muvhimi Buffalo Safaris team, Andrew Gardner, Christian Harmse, and Sonja Harmse. And it's been an incredible talk so far. We're taking it to 9:05. We're going to go over our allotted time some to speak more about what all that they offer. The last segment we got to really dig into not only the safari opportunities that are available through their company to have a leg up in terms of visiting as diverse and a multi-ecosystemed continent like Africa. You can go with folks that are from there. They know the customs, they know the people, and there are so many options. People think of safaris, they think, oh, they're just going to go shoot something. No, that's not it at all. There are photography tours. There are green safaris. There are, all in an effort to leave a legacy and to improve the wildlife and the communities there in Africa. So my good friend Dwayne Soul mentioned that I got to ask you about this, because I'd love to know. You guys have such a unique organization that you work with here, and you offer so many interesting adventures for people. What are you doing here in Georgia? I wouldn't have even thought of that until he said it. But what brought you to Georgia?
Just love the people in the States.
Southern food's very good, right? Go on.
Sonja can add on as well. What we're doing here is, just from a point of view, 90% of clients that are visiting Southern Africa and Africa from a hunting point of view and a safari point of view are from the States. So we are taking the opportunity, and it's normally January, February, March, before our hunting season kicks off in Africa, that we come over to the States to visit old friends, to visit old clients, and to meet new clients and to meet new people for growing our business and growing our footprints in the States. So that's exactly what we're doing on this trip. Is we are focusing on Atlanta, where Andrew is based. Andrew's doing excellent work for us in terms of being a partner in the US for opening up doors. So we have been, last week we've been up to Corbin, Kentucky, where we met people over there, met friends over there. We then left on Friday over to Salt Lake City. So we've been in Utah for the weekend, and we had some good functions on that side, and then we're back in Atlanta now for the next 2 weeks. But that's exactly what we're doing. So we are coming over, visiting people, exactly what I'm saying, and to grow a business, and that's what we're doing. Enjoying it.
Excellent. And Sonja, you wanted to contribute some more to that. By the way, we have about 2.5 minutes left. Right.
Yeah, I think, like Chris was saying, we're doing some amazing meet and greet evenings that's hosted by friends of ours and previous hunters, people who hunted with us. So we're having an amazing time just catching up with everything, because when people hunt with us, we just become friends. It's just amazing. It's like you meet these strangers from far off places and they leave as friends, and we spend such great times together in nature. So we are this week on the 20th, and then the 27th we are, and maybe Andrew can help me out here with the address or where we're going to be with Mr. Jean.
Yeah, Robert Jean.
Mr. Robert Jean is hosting 2 meet and greet evenings for us right here. So Andrew is going to help me out because I forget the address. Andrew? Mr. Jean?
It is 4200 South Hickory Level Road in Carrollton, Georgia, 30113. And it starts at 6 p.m. If you would, please RSVP to 770-212-1179. Again, it'll be February 20th and 27th.
All right. Well, that's an opportunity to attend an open house and get to meet the team and learn more about your next adventure that you're going to be going on. But if you could, in the, I'd say about 40 seconds we have left, could you leave folks with websites, social media, call to action where they can learn more?
Absolutely. You can visit our website. It's www.muvhimi, spelled muvhimi.co.za. You'll get all the information, all the contact details there. You can follow us on Facebook, Muvhimi Buffalo Safaris, and then also on our Instagram handle, which is Muvhimi_Safaris.
Excellent. Andrew, Christian, Sonja, thank you so much for coming onto the program and educating us all. And to everyone who tuned in at home, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.